Shabbat Shalom, everybody, in the name of Yahushua Ha'Mashiach. All praises go to the Most High Yah. So I want to come on this channel and share some word of truth with the people of Elohim. And the title of this lesson today is called How to Keep the Sabbath Day. There have been a lot of questions, and I know individuals may have a lot of questions about how to keep the Sabbath day. What is the Sabbath day? Now, this video, I will say, this video isn't going to be designed for individuals that may think, oh, we don't have to keep the Sabbath day and Christ died for our sins. That's a different video, a different subject, a different context, a different explanation based on the measure and the spirit of Elohim. There are many videos and individuals teaching in class on that subject. And so this video isn't really designed for individuals that may not, that may not believe that, okay? This video is designed for individuals that believe in the Sabbath day. They believe that they should keep it. They don't know how to do it. Now, if you're an individual that you still don't necessarily believe the Sabbath day is something you're supposed to do, you still can watch this video. However, I'm just letting you know that we're not necessarily going to go over all those scriptures to explain that in this video. So we're going to talk about, because I remember when I came to the knowledge of the truth, when the Most High called me by his grace and his mercy through his son, I did have those questions as well about how do we keep the Sabbath day? Because you see so many examples in scripture of individuals, especially the Pharisees and the Sadducees, that they would put a burden on the people when it came to keeping the Sabbath day. And the meaning of the Sabbath day, they made it where their fruits and their actions, it lost its meaning. And so it became a burden to the people because they were so legalistic. They gave so many stringent laws, extra stuff that had nothing to do with the scriptures. And say they put a bad name on the Sabbath day. Not just the Sabbath day. They put a bad name on the high days as well. The book of Isaiah 1 talks about that. They put a bad name on a father in general because the father called Israel by his name. And so when a creator of heaven and earth puts a nation on earth to be a light and they become a curse, not only are you putting a bad name to the commandments of Elohim, to the Sabbath, you're putting a bad name on everything that's associated with the creator, the only creator of heaven and earth. And so we got to remember that. So let's get back to the subject. How do we keep the Sabbath day? Let's kind of go to it first and talk about this, all right? So Exodus 20:8-11 says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yah thy Elohim. In it thou shalt do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yah made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Wherefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Now let's go to Genesis 2:1 and read that real briefly before we explain that. So Genesis 2:1 says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the 6th day Elohim ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the Sabbath day from all the work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made. These are the generations of heaven and earth which they were when they were created, in the day that Yah Elohim made the earth and the heavens. Genesis 2:1-4. So those two scriptures are real simple. When you start going into the real in-depth knowledge and the mysteries of the Sabbath day, you start to really see how the Sabbath day ties directly to Yahushua, the Messiah, the Christ. Revelation 19:10 talks about how the Messiah is the spirit of prophecy. So everything, the Sabbath day, the prophecies, this scripture is directly about the Messiah. The whole purpose of the nation of Israel was about Messiah. This whole book's about him. So even when you start going into the in-depth knowledge about the Sabbath, you start to realize that the Sabbath day is also a similitude or a hidden, I wouldn't even say hidden knowledge, it's more of a, what's the term to use? Similitude, a dark saying, or a precursor. Those are things you can use. To the kingdom age that's mentioned in the book of Revelation, the 1,000-year reign. That's like a Sabbath rest for the people, but that's for a whole 1,000 years. The rulership of Messiah, that's a different subject for a different time. And that's more meat when it comes to this subject. We're not going to talk about that in this video because we're just talking about how to keep the Sabbath day. So we see that the Most High, when he created the heavens and the earth, he set aside the Sabbath day as a memorial for creation. See, the Sabbath day wasn't just for the children of Israel. It was a memorial for the whole creation. That's why he brought it up in the creation story. It's very simple. And then when you go to Exodus 20, he gives us a little more information about the Sabbath day. All right. Then he tells us in Exodus 20, listen, no work. Okay, we're going to talk about what that work really means because we must use wisdom when we hear the word do not work. Okay. He said, your maidservant. So pretty much your servants, your animals, even the grafted in Gentiles that are among you. So it wasn't just for Israelites. So you are to follow this command. Now, here's the challenge, people. And I understand, and I really can understand based on sympathy and empathy, both. I understand because in our society, we are in a westernized society, and the structure of a westernized society is different from biblical societies. You see, in the scriptures, it says this in the Proverbs, and I'm not going to go to it because I'm pretty sure a lot of you know this. It says the fear of Elohim is the beginning of wisdom. All right. Right there shows you that our society, when it comes to the structure of freedom, isn't based on directly that. You see, our freedom in Elohim isn't based on everything we can do. It's based on our restrictions. That's why when it says when you fear Elohim, because when you fear him, that's when you're truly free. Because now you want to please your creator. So when you're pleasing your creator, there are certain things that you can do and there are certain things that you can't do. And your freedom is based on those two things. But you see, in our society, and specifically in westernized society in general, freedom, yeah, they have a rule of law and order, but our freedom when it comes to a social standpoint, number one, there's a separation of church and state. So you can't bring Elohim with you in work. That was different during biblical times. There was only one constitution. It was the law of Elohim. So the Sabbath day didn't apply just to the religious folks. It applied to the whole society. It's different here. Okay, we understand that. All right. That's one thing to remember. Number two, Statue of Liberty, when you think about that. See, the Statue of Liberty is really dealing with the deity of liberty. You see, we don't have a deity of liberty. See, our liberty isn't based on all the different things that we can become and do. In our society, a man can be a woman can be a man. If you want to abort your baby because you committed fornication, there's a doctor's office that allows you to do that. They can use that aborted fetal tissue to make medicine. They can poison and put genetically modified. So it's so much freedom. So much freedom to do what you want. And then there's kind of a rule of law based on certain things you can't do, which is understandable. But the point I'm trying to make is you're living in this society where you have so many options and your understanding of freedom is totally different from biblical freedom. So when you come to the Sabbath day knowledge, now you look at it like, man, I can't do that. Oh man, it's like you get scared. It looks like it's a Jewish thing. You think it's like it's hard, but it's really a simple, easy concept. When it comes by the spirit of Elohim. And we're going to show you some scriptures, but I really wanted to explain that. I understand when you first hear it, how it's going to be strange. Okay? It's not going to seem normal. The prophets talk about that too in the book of Hosea, about it being a strange thing. I'm not going to go to that topic because I already got scriptures written down. But so it's going to sound strange to the people a little bit. It's going to sound, oh man, what? Man, I love the Most High every day. Your mind starts to take you to places that you never thought before. Just because a person says, set apart a day not to buy or sell or work. All right. Now let's go back to Exodus 20. I want to kind of explain that, and that's really important. In fact, let's go to Leviticus 23. Because I want you to understand, man, that I understand what you're thinking. It's not like one of those things where, where people say stuff, man, I understand. No, I understand. Because I know what a mind will take you when someone tells you you got to keep the Sabbath day. And it becomes kind of difficult. You start thinking like, oh, what do I do? It seems like so much work. Isn't it interesting that you can go through your whole day watching movies, spending time with friends, going out to eat, enjoying yourself, and then someone tell you to set aside a day to Elohim. Now all of a sudden you don't know what to do. Because sometimes in our flesh, setting a day aside to Elohim can be hard because you setting a whole day to Elohim not to do your own ways. You do your own ways 6 days a week. So it's kind of, the flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. Because you get a little kernel like, so man, what am I supposed to do, just pray all day? You start thinking all types of stuff. And Elohim didn't say that either, unless you want to. Let's keep going though. So watch this. Let's go to Leviticus 23:1. It says, and Yah spoke to Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of Yah, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yah in all your dwellings. See, back then, people, during the biblical, we still living in biblical times, and I'm talking about in past biblical times outside westernized influence. This applied to everybody. The businesses, the medical offices, the people, the carpenters. Everybody did this. All right? So it made it a little more easy because you see everybody doing it. In our society, Saturday is like fun day. Disney World. Go out and have fun. And your mind is, so the Most High don't want us to have fun? You got to stop thinking that way, because you got to start letting your mind submit to what Elohim is trying to teach us. And it's all about measure, because it's not going to happen overnight. And that's another thing that happens with people. Don't try to outgrow yourself. Perfect example. If I build a building, when Noah built the ark, according to the history, it took him 100 years to build the ark. He could not rush the building. Each piece was each piece. Each measure was each measure. Let's go to the temple of Elohim. I love giving this example. Each specific measure, specific material was needed to build the temple. If they rushed, it would not be a true temple. They had to be obedient to Elohim. Measure by measure. Growth by growth. And over a certain amount of time, they built it. When they built the second temple after Babylon destroyed the first, it took them over 40 plus years to build the second temple. And that one got destroyed too. What's my point? When it comes to the Sabbath day subject, you got to let yourself grow. Don't try to copy people. Don't look at online videos unless the spirit of Elohim is prompting you to do so. That's how you truly grow, when you grow in Elohim. When you think about a million things you can't do and do, of course it's going to be a burden, because you're not letting the Most High Spirit guide you. You got to let Elohim guide you. It's certain things on the Sabbath that I did in the past that I don't do now because the Most High Spirit guided me in that direction. Now the question is, how do you know the Most High Spirit is guiding you? Because you know. It's not no rocket science when the Most High Spirit leads and guides you. And it's confirmed in your fruits, in your actions. When the Most High is guiding you, your fruits are going to show it. It's not just going to be in your mind. That's a different subject too. So let's get back to it. So he made this a holy convocation. In our society, people, isn't it interesting that we go to sporting events on Saturdays? We go to concerts. We have so much fun we used to do on Saturday morning. Cartoons, all types of fun stuff when we were kids. Sporting events, baseball, basketball games. It was so fun because the flesh likes those things. Okay, it's cool. However, Now when it comes to the Sabbath day, you like, oh man, what do I do? It becomes a burden, all right? Because, we've been westernized people. So we got to keep this in mind as well when we come to this subject so we can stay humble. But he set these days apart, okay, for a reason. And then the rest of these are his high holy days that he set apart as well. And that's also, these things represent. See, Halloween doesn't represent Elohim. Christmas doesn't represent Elohim. 4th of July doesn't represent Elohim. St. Patrick's Day doesn't represent Elohim. You see, these days, Thanksgiving doesn't represent Elohim when it comes to the history of why they created that Thanksgiving. We're not talking about Thanksgiving. We're talking about that version of Thanksgiving. So a lot of days that we follow in our society, they have nothing to do with Elohim. And we have fun, or we used to have fun, on those days. Now when it comes to Elohim, Sabbath day, that's a burden. When it has everything to do with the creation of the world, the Father, the history of the people of Elohim, it's so spiritual because it's all dealing with the Most High. That's harder to do than celebrating the 4th of July with your family at the park. Now you're dealing with the service of Elohim. Now you're dealing with some things that truly matter for your salvation. Okay, let's keep going though. So I want to go to Matthew 7 now. So this is why it's so important to remember this, people, me saying this. And I'm trying to bring out by the grace of Yah, obviously, the proper measure so that you truly understand, man, that you're not alone, people. A lot of people come to this understanding and that's why I can share it this way, because I was the same way before. And I'm not being fake or phony. I'm being real honest. Let's keep going though. So Matthew 7 and 33. This is important. This is why when we come to this subject, we got to look at the subject this way so we can grow in our understanding. Matthew 7 and 33 says, "But seek ye first the kingdom and righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Now, before that verse is talking about food, shelter, things like that. But I'm just using this verse to show you that when you seek first the kingdom of Elohim, everything else will be added to you. So when you're seeking what is right in the eyes of Elohim, he's going to provide the understanding. Everything else going to be added to you, people. Let's keep going though. So now let's kind of go into the Sabbath day again, right? So that scripture in Exodus 20 said, no work, okay? Let's go back to it for a second so we can kind of touch on this, because I'm going to go to Isaiah 58 after this. So let's go back to Exodus 20. And let's kind of go over this one more time again with our new mind. So it says, "But the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yah thy Elohim." Exodus 20:10. "In it thou shalt not do any work." So work, you're getting paid to do work, right? So he don't want you working on a Sabbath day, okay? That's what wisdom know, and I'm going to explain that in a second. "Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger." So the Most High doesn't want you working, okay? There's also scriptures in here that talks about he don't want you to buy or sell, okay? And he don't want you cooking on the Sabbath day, all right? But we'll talk about that a little later, all right? So now I want to go to Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58. So when you come into this subject, you asking yourself, all right, man, so what do I do then? So how do I please my Elohim? I can't do nothing. This is so hard. Man, what do I do? Oh, man, I know that feeling, boy. I remember that feeling. Okay, so Isaiah 58. I'm going to give you the answer to that one. Verse 13 and 14 says, "If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, holy unto Yah, honorable, and thou shalt honor him, and do not thy own ways, nor find thy own pleasure, nor speak thy own words, then thou shalt delight thyself in Yah, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father. For the mouth of Yah has spoken." So let's go to this scripture. So he says, do not your own pleasure. So he already told you, don't buy or sell, don't cook, okay? Don't work. Don't do your own pleasure. See, now this is where I would say the multitude and the glory of the Sabbath day from Elohim is so amazing, because all of us have different pleasures, people. All right, in regards to things that we like. Some of us like playing basketball and working out, doing certain things, playing video games and things like that. Those are some things that I wouldn't do on a Sabbath day, okay? Because that's pleasing to myself. That's not pleasing to Elohim. So I may do something different. But here's the thing: some people don't watch TV on a Sabbath. Some do. It just all depends the pleasure and how much you love it. Some people don't touch their phone on the Sabbath day. Some do. Some people may be addicted to their phones. So when it comes to your pleasures, this is where the Sabbath day is geared towards who you are as an individual, because we're different and we like different things. So some of the things that you like to do, you may not do as much on the Sabbath day. But let the Most High lead you into that, though. So I know some people that they take their kids to sporting events. They used to, then they stopped. They say, you know what? I'm not working, but my kids shouldn't be doing this on the Sabbath day. It took them time to do that. So everything's by measure. But the key thing you need to understand is not doing your own pleasure on the Sabbath is so important. So instead of doing your own pleasure, you're doing things that please Elohim. Okay, so you may go give to the poor. You may go give to the needy. You may go to class, okay, because you're supposed to have a holy convocation, it says in Leviticus 23. So you're going to go to Shabbat, whether online, right now, COVID, so it's probably more likely going to be online or in person if you can, all right? Or if you have family, spend time reading the word with your family. If you don't have a family, spend time reading the word at home, seeking the Most High. Maybe cut on a biblical movie or something. It's a lot of things. Take a walk. It's a lot of things that you can do. Don't focus so much on, man, I got 6 hours left. Just wake up. Seek the Most High. Thank Him for the rest. We all need it. We all got stressful lives and jobs and bills. It's nothing like resting on the Sabbath day, refreshing yourself, refreshing your mind, being rejuvenated for the rest of the week. Our society moves fast every day, every second. Everything's on. You gotta slow down. You leave your phone on all day, it's gonna get hot. It might blow up, these phones. If you don't calm down, anxiety and mental health will increase. This is a day to relax and calm down. The cares of this life, the stresses of this life, you put it aside. Now you can do that every day, but it's impossible to do it every day because you got to go to work. You got to pay bills. But this day, you get to chill out. You get to spend time with Elohim much more. You get to refresh. You get to breathe. You get to enjoy the presence of Elohim even more when the whole day is dedicated to Him. This is so important, people. So these are the things that you can think of. In regards to work, not every job's going to be cut off. We understand that. And we understand that some people got to take care of their families. But I'm going to tell you something. The Most High is faithful. If you have a job and you know that's the only way it means of taking care of your family, and you quit because of the Sabbath day, man, the Most High bless you. If you don't have enough faith at that moment to do that because you got to take care of your family, and you may not be that measure of faith yet, stay and ask the Most High bless you with another one. But don't just stay there once you know the knowledge of the Sabbath, unless you're doing work that's Sabbath day worthy. This is where we want to be careful. He said don't work, but you still can do good. And we're going to go into those scriptures as well, too. You can do good. Police officers can't shut off the Sabbath day. Hospitals can't. It's certain trades and services that can't stop. If it snows, I got to have a snowmobile. I got to, clean up the snow. So the Most High gave us wisdom. We have to know that. So, yes, you can't work on the Sabbath day, but there are certain jobs that have to be on. And if these jobs aren't on, you don't have a structured society, I would say. Because if the hospital is closed down on the Sabbath day and my wife is pregnant and she gives birth on the Sabbath, there's nowhere to go. So we must use wisdom. Certain people will be working on the Sabbath day. However, not everybody has a job in those field line public service type jobs or specific trades that need to be working 7 days a week, like the military. They have no choice because they're in the military. Okay? So if they're overseas and they got to protect the border, they got to be there 7 days a week. They can't take the Sabbath day off and say, yeah, it's a Sabbath day, well, let's go to sleep. No, they got to protect the border. So the Most High gave us wisdom. Let's keep going, old people. So the key thing for the Sabbath is not doing your own pleasure. And if you don't have a job that requires required work, don't work there. And keep the Sabbath day. I know it's difficult because in our society, Some people do it, some people don't. Some people do Sunday. It's so many different weird religions and doctrines. And back then it was much easier because everybody did it. And we must understand that dynamic when we're explaining this to people. Anyway, let's keep going now. Let's go to Isaiah 56. I hope that made sense. Isaiah 56, verse 1 says, Thus saith Yah, keep ye judgment and do justice. For my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the son of man that lays hold on it, that keeps the Sabbath from polluting it, and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Neither let the son of the stranger that has joined himself to Yah speak, saying, Yah hath utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, Behold, I am a dry tree. Now verse 3 is interesting. What it's saying is a stranger or a eunuch, okay? A stranger obviously is a Gentile coming to their knowledge. A eunuch is a person that dedicates himself to a service to Elohim. Hopefully it's the true Elohim, all right? He's saying, don't come into this thing saying I'm a dry tree. No, you're not alone. No, you can't separate yourself from his people or his people commands. Once you come into this fold, whether if you're a Gentile or not, you are a part of the tree of Yisrael because you have been grafted in. No, you can't separate and create your own duties and laws and service to Elohim. You're not allowed to do that. You're not a dry tree. You come, you're grafted in, and this verse is going to finish telling you that. So Isaiah 56 verse 4 also says, But thus saith Yah unto the eunuchs to keep my Sabbath, and choose the things that please me, and take hold of my covenant. Even unto them I will give my house, within my walls a place, a name better than the sons and daughters. And I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. He's going to bring you into his house. We're going to show you another scripture that confirms that in Ephesians 2. Verse 6. Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yah, to serve him, to love the name of Yah, to be his servants. Everyone that keeps the Sabbath from polluting it, and takes hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my holy mountain, and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. Let's go to Ephesians 2 to confirm that as well, what he is saying. So far you can see, people. Let me go here real briefly so I don't lose my train of thought. Now, hold on 1 second. Ephesians 2. So you see, when you keep the Sabbath day and don't separate yourself from the Israelites, and you become grafted in, man, you're going to have a better name than them, it says. Because you have left your forefathers' deities and their lies and their false understanding of true liberty and the statue of liberty, deity, and all of the paganistic rituals that we have been taught in the ritualistic, paganistic society. And you come to the true and living Elohim, who is not based on paganism, but based on true, sincere worship. Of course, you're going to be a part of the house of faith. Of course, he will accept you. Let's keep going, though. Ephesians 2, 19 and 22 says, Now therefore, you're no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints, and as the household of Elohim, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua Messiah himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building filthy framed together groweth into a holy temple unto Yah, in whom you also built together for a habitation of Elohim through the Spirit. See, it's the Spirit that gives the measure. It's the Spirit that we receive when we accept Yahushua that brings you to it, that brings you to the house, that brings you to the house of faith. It's the Spirit of Mashiach. It's bringing you to the house of faith. Now you belong to the house of Israel. There's no separation. There's Yisrael. Israelites, Gentiles, called by the name of Mashiach, called by the Father. So, Gentiles and Israelites do the Sabbath day, and they do it together. But the question is, for the Gentile and the Israelite, how do you do it? And I hope so far we're helping you with that answer. Isaiah 56 is a gold mine for that subject. Do not your own pleasure. Don't buy, don't sell, don't work. But everything's with wisdom as well. Because what if one day you starving and somebody robs you, you need some food? So everything is by wisdom. Don't buy or sell. But if you ain't got a choice and it's your last situation, then you do it. Because you're going to eat. If a homeless person walking down the street, he's hungry, and you got $5, it's a Sabbath day. Well, I can't buy or sell. You better buy that man a sandwich. So Father gave us wisdom. We're not pushing Pharisee doctrine. That's where the confusion comes in. Because they are the ones that came with the confusion and the legalism, creating their own modern day doctrines to govern the Sabbath day. And Messiah dealt with them. And so do not focus on the Sabbath day from that standpoint. Use simplicity. Don't buy, don't sell. Prepare before the Sabbath day. So the day before the Sabbath, make sure you buy things that you need. If emergency happens, you need to buy something on the Sabbath day. Father gave us wisdom. David ate the showbread, and he was not commanded to do so because it was only for the priests. Yet he was hungry. So use that wisdom as well. But if you can, prepare before the Sabbath day. Buy the food, buy the diapers you need, buy the water. Make sure the food is ready if you can, on the Sabbath day. Make sure your food is ready. Some people may still cook on the Sabbath because that's where they're in their understanding. And then so be it. The Most High continues to grow you, all right? But in time, make sure you have your food prepared. I know some people warm up their food on the Sabbath. Some people don't. That's a different subject. Everyone's going to be different. But the key thing to understand, do your best to do the minimum requirements and the Most High will lift you up. If you got a job that's not required to work on the Sabbath day, don't work. Dedicate that time to Elohim. You didn't dedicate 8 hours to your cell phone. You didn't get dedicated 10 hours to school. Now the Most High said, dedicate this. Man, I dedicate myself to the Father every day. Yeah, we do, but we know we don't have a day where we have a whole day dedicated to Him, no. Unless you fasting one day. Tell me a day of the week where you ain't working and you got to sit back and you can really think about Elohim all day without no distractions of work or co-workers or life. Tell me the Sabbath day gives you that, people. What a joyful thing the Most High gives us. So that's what we're saying. This is what we're not saying to do on the Sabbath day. Go to Matthew 12. We're not saying this. Do not get it confused, people. Hold on 1 second. So Matthew 12. And we're going to go to verse. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. My phone. Let's keep going. Phone acting a little weird. All praise go to YHWH. So Matthew 12:1 says, at that time Yahushua went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were hungry, and began to pluck the ears of corn, and did eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, behold, thy disciples do which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day. But he said to them, have you not heard what David did when he was hungry? That they were with him? How he entered the house of Elohim and did eat the showbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. Have we not read in the law how that on the Sabbath day the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless? But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple. All right. So, and then he goes on in verse 8 to say, for the Son of Man is the master even of the Sabbath day. So what he's trying to get them to see is, y'all up here, someone's hungry. And the first thing you're thinking about, hey man, nobody told you to work to pick that those grains off the stalk of it and eat. What? What are you talking about? The brother's hungry. So if I see a brother walking down the street, I got $5. And it's a store right there to get a sandwich, or I can go to a gas station, or I can like make him some food and bring it to him. He ain't ate in 2 weeks. He hasn't had no water. And I say, you know what? I'm not going to get this dude nothing because I can't spend no money, or I can't cook him nothing, even though he 2 blocks from my house. I can go home real quick and make him a sandwich. I ain't even got to buy him nothing. I can make him a quick sandwich. I can cook him up a grilled cheese sandwich. I ain't giving that dude nothing, man. I'm not cooking on the Sabbath day. See, this isn't where you lose the meaning of the Sabbath. See, the Sabbath was made for man. not man for the Sabbath. Messiah said that as well too. All right. So he didn't create the Sabbath day for us to create all the extra rules. He gave us the criteria. Just follow it and use wisdom. The brother was hungry, so he ate. So if you're coming on a Sabbath day with a spirit like that, the Most High is not going to lift you up. He's going to put you down. He's going to humble you. All right. So we got to keep that in mind when it comes to this subject, because that's been happening a lot among the people of Elohim. That's why people sometimes have a tough time with doing this, man, because everybody's so judgmental. You know, we got to be careful with that spirit. So John chapter 5. John 5 and start at verse 2. Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches. And these lay in a great multitude of frail folk, of blind, lame, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. For the angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. And whatsoever then first and after troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years. And when Yahushua saw him lie, he knew that he had been now a long time in the case. And he said to him, "Wilt thou be made whole?" So on a Sabbath day, there was a man that was sick, crippled, messed up. On the Sabbath day, it don't matter what day. And the Messiah does something about it because he felt sorry for this brother. Verse 7. The frail man answered and said, "Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. But while I'm coming, another steps down before me." Yahushua said to him, "Rise, take up thy bed and walk." And immediately the man was made whole, took up his bed and walked. And the same day was the Sabbath. The Yahudim therefore said to him that was cured, "It is the Sabbath day. It is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed." Hold on. You mean to tell me a brother was crippled, he was healed by the power of Elohim, and now he's carrying his bed, which could be heavy, on a Sabbath day? And that's not something you usually would do, carry heavy things. But this brother carrying his bed home, rejoicing. And instead of you being thankful for the healing, you're looking at the outward appearance, judgment, and saying, "Man, he carried something on the Sabbath." You're not in the spirit of Elohim. We don't want to walk in no judgment like that. If I see a brother healed, the first thing I'm thinking about is, "Hey man, he not wearing a white shirt, man. Look what he got on, man. Man, you don't supposed to dress like that as a believer." What? We can't judge like that. That's unrighteous judgment. See, if you're coming to any subject of the scriptures, Sabbath day or any subject with an off-brand judgment like that, the Most High is not dealing with you. It's very simple. Let's keep going though. Let's go to Matthew 23 and 23. Look at this, man. See, this is what the Most High don't want us coming in this spirit right here. The Most High does not want his people coming in this spirit mentioned in Matthew 23 when it comes to the Sabbath day. It says, Matthew 23 and 23, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you pay tithe of mint, anise, and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matter of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. These ought ye to have done, and have not to leave the others undone." So yeah, you give your tithes to the priest. That's cool. Keep doing that. But why is, read it again, judgment, mercy, and faith, why is that not showing in your fruits and your actions? Make sure you have that mindset when you're teaching people about the Sabbath and when you're doing the Sabbath yourself. See, the Most High, Messiah said, "My burden is easy, my yoke is light." It's light because when you receive the spirit of Elohim, it's Ephesians 2:10. It's the spirit of Elohim that works in you to do it. So when you're walking in the spirit of Elohim, it's never going to be a burden. Now, you're always going to have that battle with the flesh and the spirit. 1 Peter 4:1 talks about that. But he who suffers in the flesh shall see some sin. So you're always going to deal with that battle of, man, the Sabbath day I'm going to be doing this. That's just the flesh. That's cool. That's a part of life. That's a part of temptation. But I'm talking about when you're led by the Spirit, John 4, it's going to do the work for you. That's why the yoke is easy, because he's doing the work. And when you start doing the work, you start throwing yourself off. When you start getting legalistic, you throw yourself off. You see, the Most High one is coming in his spirit. And Colossians 2 talks about that as well, but I don't want to touch on that scripture. That's another scripture for another time. Paul dealt with that same subject with a lot of new believers and a lot of Israelites coming to the knowledge, trying to put burdens on the people and telling the people how to do the Sabbath day, telling people how to keep the feast days. And Colossians 2 kind of talks about that, but I don't want to get off subject going into that part as well, because that segment can be for a different lesson related to why the laws are done away with. But this has always been an issue with the household of faith. Even before Messiah came, we always had these different issues with not understanding how to do things in measure. All right. So once again, to close out this lesson by the grace of Yah, we talked about the Sabbath day. Okay. We talked about not buying, not selling, not working. Use wisdom with that subject, because some people may have professions where they're probably going to work. You got to ask yourself the question as well. If you do work a profession that requires you to work, is that going to be your service to Elohim? Okay. So when you're working and doing that job, you're doing that into Elohim on Sabbath day. You're a nurse. You're doing that into Elohim if you have no choice. You have to see it that way. You're not just working. You're a paramedic. You're not just working. You're responding to 911 calls. People could be dying or sick. You're doing a service. If you're doing that on Sabbath day, you got to look at it like that. Okay. It can't just be work, or else don't do it then if it's a burden. Because the Most High wants us to enjoy the Sabbath, man. He wants us to enjoy the Sabbath. He wants us to rest. We got to have that day, okay? And he gave us the day. Society says you can do it any day. The Most High say, do it this day, all right? And so we got to just use that measure. After watching this lesson, I hope and pray it was helpful. In the end, people, I want you to really see this one thing. The Sabbath day is beautiful. It is not a burden. Once you come into the knowledge of Elohim and start to grow in your understanding, when the Most High Spirit continues to lead you, he may lead you through a congregation. He may lead you individually. He may lead you through another teacher. Who knows? It's up to the Most High and his relationship with you and what he wants you to do. But you will start to see that the Sabbath day is a beautiful, beautiful, amazing experience. When you respect it and come in the spirit, the right spirit, you will rejoice. You will love it. All right? And so all praises go to Yah through his son, Yahushua Ha'Mashiach. Shalom. Shalom.